three very exciting speakers today is Heng Cheng, who has been with the global builder movement for some time, speaking about how building has been working, for example, in China, or the equivalent, let's say, movement or way to look at people and society. But today, and Heng is a member of the Club of Rome and a guest professor of Tongji University of China. Today, he's going to talk about artificial intelligence and biotechnology and these sides of, let's say, human progress or development, and how we can factor these groundbreaking new aspects of human life into planetary issues and how to solve our problems. I hope that did you justice, Heng, as I welcome you to the stage. The floor is yours.
Okay, thank you. So I have two topics, right? AI and biotech. Okay, I try to not follow what I have written and just a little bit history, which I started in 1980s when I finished my study or my doctorate degree in Germany. And I was a chemical engineer, educated. And at that time, if many people still remember, that started with software, try to predict the chemical reactions or in the reactor, how you design that. There is a software so-called Aspen, and later on Aspen Plus, Aspen Plus Plus. So during that days, actually, as a chemical engineer, we use only our thumb to make a lot of calculations. And with that software, we are able to really go into different phases, which means in gas phase, you have a liquid phase, you have solid phase, and many chemicals do have all these properties listed thermodynamically and kinetically, and the reaction rate, etc., etc. So during that days, I thought if that goes on, maybe in 10 years, we are able to predict chemical reaction, and we don't need, whatever amazing experiments. Basically, we can predict everything. We don't need reactions. So that was in the 1980s. And I graduated in Germany, and at that time was coal chemistry, coal technology in the 1970s to 1980s, if you still remember. That was a time that oil was in short, and you have to find an alternative resources, and not outside fossil, just from oil to coal. So then, but at the end of the 1970s, and you start seeing that the oil is quite much more than we thought, etc., etc. So in the last 30 years, it changed a lot. Also, when Martin mentioned about my current status as a member of Club of Rome, it's similar to what in the simulation, starting from world model 1.0, during the days when we started talking about a kind of world model and tried to use all kinds of relationship in between and try to simplify the complex problems, and then try to solve that with a certain pattern. And then we have this population, this production, industrial production or agriculture production, etc., etc. So with such factors, and then with the prediction also that if we go on like this as what human beings has been always, then we may have the same that this result in 50 years, and it happened. And when we go back, that's what Club of Rome has predicted with limits to growth, and it happened exactly what has been predicted 50 years ago. On the other hand, the chemical engineering side, well, I thought I'm now 70, I am out of the picture. Maybe I have nothing to do with chemical engineering anymore, because as I said, 10 years later, it should be everything solved, but it was not. So what has been done in the last 30 years is optimization. You are tuned up with a certain factors which are predetermined. And with that kind of factors, then you are actually up and down and make it more precise on that temperature, pressure, or chemicals to be reacted, etc. But not the first part. The first part is why this reaction should happen, or whether this reaction will happen or not happen. It doesn't actually. We have more prediction, or let's say we didn't make much progress. On the other hand, same as what the limits of growth has been predicted. 50 years later, we came to the same conclusion, but we didn't actually solve the first part. Why can't we find a different way if we know the end result? Because we didn't change our mindset. So AI has that kind of nature. Basically, we are trying to optimize in a system which we are used to. And with the old thinking, you will always have the same pattern. And no matter how optimization you can do, you will still get the same results. So this is the AI part. Do we have a solution? Yes, we have a solution. Not looking at what the relationships which are precise, just like the uncertainty principles. Once you want to have precision, you want to know exactly what the factor can do, you will get as little as possible, or as little what you can get as information. On the other hand, you want to have more information, you can't be precise at all. So, and this is happening everywhere. Then why not we just look at the state? And the state is more important than the mechanism in between. That's actually a solution on the AI, or let's say traditional AI. I call it as alternative AI. There is another way to do that. Instead of looking at the mechanism, but looking at the state. Okay, that's the AI part. The second part is biotech. The biotech is interesting because it's really related to chemical engineering. The chemical reaction, you have more complicated because there's a life in there. But at the end, we actually combined the engineering with chemical engineering, etc., together with life. And there are so many things unpredictable. Although those are focused on life science, they have a lot of questions, just like a Pandora box. So you open one, you analyze one, then you get more questions, one by one by one. So it is actually solved. So yesterday also I joined another meeting. It's really regarding how do you look at an energy influence on the human beings. So there's actually nobody really know that. So 1 megahertz or 12.5 megahertz, it will bring some, let's say, medical healing effect, but on the other hand, also affect the human beings. But we don't know what's the long-term effect. Nobody knows actually. So IEEE has something under 1 megahertz, but nothing above, or let's say in between up to 5 megahertz. But what we are doing today is much higher than that. So biotech is a way that human beings has a lot to learn. So take the example of gene-modified organism. Take an example of even COVID with mRNA, etc., etc. This kind of long-term effect, we didn't know that. We couldn't predict that because these are not in the data bank. And the same will come to the AI. Basically, AI rely on the data bank. If there is nothing happened before, or we don't know that, we can't predict. So that's a problem. Okay, so this is the part AI and biotech. I just show you there are similarities. There are also differences. That's my contribution. Thank you.